You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Wa'arakak Wadash. And double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Barakatham to the overall elect as well. Salakia, including the elder bishops on down. And then now I say, it's your brother Laban. And what I want to do is I want to talk about this because I find this, again, interesting, man, and hilarious at the same time. As this reads, Trump tells Fox News that Canada would be much better off being a 51st state. As it goes as far as to read, the president has said America pays $200 billion a year essentially in subsidy to Canada, and that if the country was the 51st state of the U.S., I don't mind doing it in an interview broadcast before the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Donald Trump's administration is rapidly reshaping the U.S. government, and the impact of his decisions is already being felt globally. From the pause in foreign aid to withdrawing from the World Health Organization and Paris Climate Agreement, and the way that this guy is governing the country and dealing with the worldly matters, man. I mean, it's like he just doesn't give a shit, you know? He has his foot on the gas, man, pretty much, to do whatever he got to do. All of those is executive orders. I think it was about over 200 executive orders he signed, man. He's looking to fulfill all of them, even if it is going to upset people or upset, other politicians in different places. I mean, it's like, again, this guy is just moving with a sense of pride, and this is the right man to basically lead America because his spirit is very fitting for America just in general, and it's just to invigorate that sense of pride that Americans have always had. Americans have been humbled for a long time, ever since, I would say, from the time when Obama came in to the point of Biden, and that's just my opinion. But DJ Trump, what he's going to do is he's going to reinvigorate that Edomitic American pride again. If he's in there long enough, that pride is going to come back, man. And that's what we need, because with pride comes destruction. And so we want to see the fall of our enemies, right? Proverbs 13 and verse 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. And that's just the thing. This is a very contentious way of going about things, saying that it would be good if Canada would be a 51st state of America. Like, he ain't even considering, like, how would Canada take that? What would be their feelings towards that? And as early on, he even mentioned that the Gulf of Mexico being the Gulf of America. So he has this mentality of just taking over shit, man. An imperialistic mindset. That's what it is. And it's really all to do spawning back to pride, man. Which is the true American spirit. Obadiah 1 and verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. And here's the point. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. And that's what the word small means. It means insignificant. And it also means it can also mean to be despised, from the Hebrew word quatan. Yeah, so I was right the first time. Insignificant. Had nothing to do with the word despise. That wouldn't even make sense anyway. Yeah, Obadiah 1 and 2 again. Behold, I've made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that save in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Like you got those skyscrapers in New York, which is an indication of their pride. Okay, which is very reminiscent of when they were dwelling in the clefts of the rocks of Mount Seir primarily. Now, most people will say, well, they originally came from South Georgia, Russia, the Caucasus Mountains, but originally they came from Mount Seir. And the reason why it was called Mount Seir, because the rocks were hairy. The word Seir means hairy. So from above, if you go down to Jordan, this area in Petra, you'll see those mountains from above, and it looks like a hairy place. You know? Just to bring out, yeah, so verse 4, as this reads, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou hast set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, save the Lord, which is in commemoration to, what is it, Apollo 13. Let me use a different word, because commemoration is a good word, right? But I'm reminded of the Apollo 13, which took place, and I think it was what, 68 or 69. I think it was 69 when you had Buzz Aldrin and the rest of them guys, and they said that the eagle is landed, which was nothing more than a lie. But when they convey that lie, that's the minute America started going down more realistically, because they were involved in the Vietnam War. And then you had those soldiers which came back, brothers that are old enough to remember those days, they could better tell you than I can, because I wasn't back there, But yeah, and that's why you had the hippie movement and all of that stuff. And you had these various gangs which came out and, declared their problems to their government, especially in the 70s as well. Just to name a few things, like I said, a brother that's lived in those times can better explain it more specifically than I can. Elaborate more better. Yeah, so with that being the case, what I want to do is I want to look into this word over here, pompous, which the term pompous means to be what? Effectively grand, solemn, or self-important. And that's the mentality of Trump. He has this pompous attitude. He really feels as though he's a very important person, and that America is more so important than any place around the world, as it is mentioned as well in the book of, Daniel 7, right? That this horn was more stout than his fellow. And who is his fellow? The other European counterparts. All right. So when the time comes, if America does something else, which is, going to ruffle their feathers, then America's going to get turned on. And DJ Trump a while back already declared that he wouldn't give a shit what happened to the EU if they didn't pay their way. So if he could say things like that, then again, what is he capable of doing? And look what we're seeing right here, right now. Like, okay, he's been in the position of power for a few weeks, and look how much he's been doing. And as well as I want to say too, this DJ Trump, I say this DJ Trump, because when he was in office before, he wasn't doing all of this. The way that this man is operating the country, it's like none other of his predecessors. What also comes to mind as well is when he said that he'll be willing to send gangs in America, if my memory serves me correctly, to send their asses to Guantanamo Bay. No president has even declared that. No one has ever thought of actually doing something like that, and everything else that he's currently doing now. All right. So he's coming with that prideful, contentious energy, the original American energy that, us brothers recognize America for anyway. America's pride was in deep sleep when Sleepy Joe was in office. Now that pride has been invigorated because DJ Trump is in so-called power now. So anyway, speaking about being pompous, Isaiah 14:11, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. In other words, the worms represents its corruption. Like, for example, the infrastructure is in decline. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Which the term Lucifer just means light, from the word Louis or Louis. It isn't referring to the devil or Satan. The son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And this is why they also call themselves the Illuminati, which means to be enlightened. You know, they believe that they have the secretive knowledge, or if I'm correct, there's another word I could say as well, esoteric. They believe they have the esoteric knowledge above all people. Let me see if I'm correct. Esoteric, right? Esoteric. Yeah, I'm right. Intended to what? Intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with a specialized knowledge of interest. Right. So there you go. Yes, I just wanted to make sure I was right on that. But yeah, they believe that because they have this secretive knowledge that most people will not be privy to, that makes them the enlightened ones, since you get the term Illuminati, which goes in conjunction with the word Lucifer, which means those that are bearing the light. All right. So as this reads, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Right. And what did DJ Trump say? DJ Trump said,
Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now.
verse 14, I will ascend above the height of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High, and yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, as well as Yahushua said, he that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that is abased shall be exalted. So now what I want to do is I want to change the topic a little bit, and I want to speak on this guest appearance of Trump visiting the Super Bowl. From the BBC Sports Swift, Trump and the Dynasty in Ruins, how Super Bowl 59 unfolded. As this reads, I want to go right down to the point. All right, yeah, so it says mixed receptions for Trump and Swift. There has never been a sitting U.S. president at a Super Bowl, but within 20 days of returning to the White House, Donald Trump has changed that. Trump has a complicated relationship with the NFL during his first term in office, when he was embroiled in a row with players who took a knee during the national anthem as a part of a protest against racism. And you know, it's funny, right? I was thinking about Nero, and I said, let me type in Nero and his guest appearances, right? Something to that equivalent. Like, what did he guest appear in? So over here it mentions, and I'm going to get to the point in this, Nero's practical contribution to Rome's governance focused on diplomacy, trade, and culture, right? He ordered the construction of the amphitheater and promoted athletic games and contests. He made public appearances as an actor, poet, and musician in the charioteer, in other words, chariot racing, which scandalizes his aristocratic contemporaries, as these occupations were usually the domain of slaves, public entertainers, and infamous persons. And I mean, as well as it's the same thing with the NFL and the NBA. You know, these are all working class sports that people watch. You know what I'm saying? Like usually your presidents, they don't really get involved in things like this. This is what, your average working class people look at, So Trump, he made his guest appearance on this over here. And you also got to think about wrestling, man. Like we all grew up watching WWE. We remember the days when it was called WWF. He was involved in that as well. And then he was also involved in what was it called, man? He was also involved in this not a documentary. This show called The Apprentice Show from 2004, I believe. I remember when it first came out, because my mother, she was into stuff like that, man. Yeah, so Nero was doing quite similar things, man. He was making his guest appearance and domains, as it reads right here, occupations were usually domains of slaves, public entertainers, infamous persons. And when you go and check his filmography, that's a tongue twister for me. I can't say that word. He was on films from 1989, and he was also on television. Yeah, from 1989 to 2011. Television shows from 1985 to 2020. Videos 94 to 2001. He was even on music videos as well. On Bobby Brown's music video in 1989, Trump appeared in the music video for Bobby Brown's single On Our Own, which was featured in the movie Ghostbusters 2. In 1991, Trump originally made an appearance music video for Precious Metal, covers Janet Robbins' song Mr. Big Stuff. However, Trump wanted a $250,000 payment instead of agreed upon $10,000 appearance fee after the band refused to pay for his appearance. Trump was replaced in the final version of the music video. He also appeared in an I Like Trains song, The Truth, something like that. In an I Like Trains song, The Truth, right? Yeah, he did that as well, advertising for Pizza Hut. So he's been around on television for a while. He's been on TV for quite a bit of time, man. But he's made guest appearance in areas where, usually politicians wouldn't get involved, And that's exactly what Nero did. Nero did the same thing. So it's man, this could be him. Donald Trump could, hey man, it's very, very credible to say that this is Nero in a reincarnation. But yeah, that's all I got to really say on this right here. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Bashem Marakak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone and Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Barakatha to the elder bishops, and the Atham to the elect as well. Shalom.